All right, so this video is going to be a little different. It's going to be going over this spreadsheet that I made. I made this originally internally for myself, um, but I thought it would be useful to share it. So I'm going to move myself over here. Um, the short version is this is a document that will help you to calculate how many domains and inboxes you need to be able to hit specific goals. So a big theme in outreach is you need enough volume, and to do that, you need multiple inboxes. Or this could also apply for social media accounts, but the main emphasis is inboxes and email outreach, right? So what is in this document is basically different scenarios. So you can see down here they're separated into different tabs. And so the first one is based on your budget. So you can put in what's the maximum you're willing to spend, and it'll tell you how many inboxes and domains you can get based on that. Then the next two are based on the domains and inboxes themselves. So you can say, okay, I want to buy 10 inboxes or I want to buy 10 domains. And it'll tell you like this is how much it's going to cost. This is the expected ROI based on the variables that you input. Um, Again, same thing with the new leads and emails sent. So these are similar as well. New leads means unique people contacted, whereas emails sent also includes the follow-ups. Slight distinction there. And then the last one is based on revenue goal. So if you have a goal to hit, 10K a month or whatever, then you can put that in there, and it's going to basically tell you based on the different variables that you input, based on your stats or based on what you think you'll get. It'll tell you how many inboxes and domains you'll need for that, how much it's going to cost, and everything like that. So, so a few things up here. You can read this when you get the sheet, but it's better to be conservative with your numbers. So, um, put in numbers that are maybe a little bit pessimistic, right? Because then if you're wrong and it works out better than that, then that's good for you. Whereas if you overestimate the numbers and it doesn't quite work out, then you're kind of left in a bit of a situation. So it's better to put lower numbers to be more prepared, basically. So the first thing that I want to say is these other tabs are not meant to be edited. What will happen is when you update these ones here, everything else will get updated. So you just have to worry about this sheet, this first sheet. The second thing is you should only edit the highlighted cells. So you can see here, like you put in your book rate, your show up rate, your closing rate, all these things. And then that will calculate everything in the rest of the sheet. So what will happen is once you put all these numbers in, you can put in these numbers here as well. So you can say, for example, I have a maximum budget of $500, and there are descriptions for each of these, or there should be. Apparently, there's not. Um, so the budget goal will take into account other costs as well. So you can see here, you can put in your tech stack, basically what you need to be able to do the outreach. So for example, a sending tool like Instantly, a database like Store Leads, and then maybe a few other things. This isn't including the inboxes or domains because obviously that's what we're trying to calculate here. So what this does is it takes into account that you're already spending 347 a month on, in this case, on your tech stack. So when it tells you how many inboxes and domains you can get for $500, it will be doing 500 minus 347, and that's what's left over for your inbox budget essentially. So yeah, that's the budget. Again, you can say I want 10 domains, for example, or you want 5 inboxes. And one thing to note is these are all different scenarios, right? So these are different calculations, and some may not be applicable to you, right? Like you may not have a specific number of domains that you want in mind, but you just want to know what is it going to take for me to get to 10K. And this is in contracted value. This is not necessarily taking into account lifetime value as well. So this is basically just cash collected, right? So yeah, the important things is these variables here. So this is what will be specific and unique to you. So Your average ticket price might be $2,000. Closing rate 15%. And again, as I mentioned before, it's better to be conservative with these numbers. So let's say you normally around 2,500, 3,000, then you should put 2,000, for example. So you'll be able to be more prepared. Same thing with closing rate. If you normally do 20, 25%, then I put in 15%. So you put in your specific variables, you put in your tech stack. Over here, what this means is you can see a description here. Inboxes per domain basically means for every one domain that you have, how many users are you going to have on each one? And again, there's kind of a debate on what's best. Some people just do one user per domain. To me, that's kind of like wasting a little bit, and I can talk about that a little bit more. But if you're only doing one user per domain, the short version is like obviously the risk increases with each user that you have on the domain. So you don't want to add 50 users on the same domain. But if you only put one, then you're kind of wasting the opportunity a little bit. So I would stick to, around 2, 3, 4, something like that. Follow-ups. This is essentially the follow-ups that you have in your sequence, and it's not including the first email. So in this example, if there's 4 follow-ups and the sequence total is a total of 5. So yeah, when it's doing the calculations, when it's doing the calculations, it takes into account that you already have an initial email, obviously. So this is just anything that comes after the first email. And the daily emails per inbox basically means how many emails are you sending out per inbox. Over here, you can put in the costs. So yearly inbox cost you can get for $15 from Zoho. Google Workspace is going to be like 60, 70. Domain cost is going to be $10. It's probably not going to change, but if you find that you're watching this in a few years and now it's $20, then you can change that there. So this just calculates how much it's going to cost for one group. So essentially, if you're having 2 inboxes as over here, that's going to be $30. And then plus $10 for the domain, it's going to be $40 for like one group. And then obviously you can have multiple groups. So over here, this is if you have someone who is selling for you. So if you put in that they have a 20% commission, then that will calculate basically your ROI. So it factors that into the cost. The ascending schedule. So you have a drop down here. So weekdays only means 20 days a month. Weekdays and weekends is 30 days a month. So you can choose which one you're going with. And yeah, so I have some descriptions here. So I've mentioned that the leads basically means unique people contacted each day. So these 2 are daily. That's important to keep in mind. And then what happens is each of these tabs will be updated. You can see here it's a bit of not formatted very well. And the reason for that is because it takes in the important data and puts it into this first sheet. So over here you can see based on the max capacity for budget, and you've put $500 budget, it's going to cost $500 once, it's going to cost $347 each month after that. It's going to give you 8 inboxes and 4 domains based on this up here. So 2 inboxes per domain. 4 domains times 2 is 8 inboxes. It's going to give you the revenue and profit numbers. So these are just some dummy data, right? But as I mentioned, so it will take into account commission, it will take into account the actual cost, it will take into account all these things. So yeah, that is pretty much it. Hopefully you find it valuable. If you want this document, if you want this sheet, then it will be in the Facebook group, which you can find a link to in the description of this video. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully you find it valuable, and I will see you soon.